This is a sort of an experimental area of my life. I've called it Drowning in Tourism. And let's have a little dive into this and see what we mean. Okay, here goes. Okay, this is a small humorous slide about how investors might see tourism, a great opportunity to dive in and make lots of money. The next group of people that I want to deal with, so they are the sort of the infrastructure of tourism, the hotels, guest houses, municipalities owning beaches and so on. And then at the other end of the spectrum, how the local people see tourism as an ATM that dispenses endless amounts of money. In this scenario, then, lifeguarding for swimming pools is pretty well mandatory in most countries. Where it is not mandatory is for private hotels, guest houses, villas, and beaches. There's an element of personal responsibility or not in those locations. Now, the result of that not being mandatory is what I call the duty of care cop-out. And that is, you put up a sign that says, it's not down to me, it's down to you. And I don't believe that that very fairly constitutes a duty of care in the field of drowning. If you think about an employee in a business and the chef puts his hand in boiling water, the legislation requires you have a first aid kit. It requires that people who handle dangerous substances like boiling fat or boiling water have training and experience and briefings, and there are instructions on the wall of what to do. In the scenario of private swimming pools, that doesn't exist, whether they're in guest houses, sports centres, or whatever. So it's down to you. Now, in the holiday scenario, the consequence of that is that parents make bad lifeguards, and we know that. We've all been on holiday. We want to relax. We want to read a book. We want to sunbathe. We want to drink, and we want to sleep. And the last thing we want to do is watch the kids. So they're away, and we all know how attracted they are to water, and that is the danger. So if you're going away on holiday to a villa that has a pool, then you are, and you're not watching your children, you're neglecting your duty of care, and any coroner will tell you that exactly. But as far as the villa owner is concerned, it's not his problem. Well, I think it is. And the reason that people don't employ lifeguards is very, very simple. And basically, that is, they cost money. They are an overhead. We read in the newspapers last week when the 5 Asian boys drowned at Camber Beach, right in the middle of the crowd, and nobody knew that it was happening. And they said, well, we couldn't afford lifeguards, so, it's down to everybody on the beach. Well, the thing is, they are a cost overhead, and you don't just get away with one, you have to have several because they have a limited attention span. Real focused in a swimming pool, maximum 20 minutes. And then you have to do something about it, so you need several of them, and you have to rotate them. We also employ young people, keeping the cost down. If we can pay a 16-year-old to be a lifeguard, we can go below the minimum wage, so that's very popular. It's a good job for youngsters, but at the final analysis, it is a job of responsibility. And in the UK last year, we actually had a conviction of a lifeguard for negligence, which I thought is a real wake-up call for the lifeguarding industry. Overseas, it gets a little bit looser. Overseas, lifeguards are considered not to be very high up in the social scale, whereas in Europe and in North America, it's a rite of passage. President, oh dear, I've forgotten his name. President Reagan was a lifeguard. Just about every PhD person in swimming has been a lifeguard at some time in his career. It's a rite of passage, and it's a first level of responsibility in your transition to adulthood. So what happens overseas? They're given other jobs. They tidy up the poolside, they put out the sun loungers, make sure that you've got a towel. When you're not there, they vacuum the pool. And in the pecking order, along with the waiters and the cleaners, they're down at the bottom end of the sort of social scale, cultural scale, whatever scale you like to put on it. So what would be the solution to that? Well, my solution to that is, if you've got all these lifeguards off watch, rather than using them on menial tasks, use them on the next level up, train them as swimming teachers. Now, what is the advantage of that? Well, if it's an overhead, the first thing is that you're giving these people an upward career structure, because lifeguarding is a bit of a dead-end job. No, I think the sort of how long people stay in the business at sort of employment level, actually earning real money. You get better motivated staff. You get an opportunity for parents to relax, because there's a chance when you have captive children for a whole 2 weeks, they can have swimming lessons every day. And so that enhances the drowning prevention within the environment. And most important for the tourist industry, it actually changes a cost overhead into an income stream. So I see that as being a plus and a plus and a plus and a plus. And so I'm just very interested, having sort of kicked this idea around for a while, to feed that to you, and I'm looking for your reaction rather than the other way around. So if I can extend my question time, maybe, I'd be very grateful.
There's not going to be any coffee there for...
Yeah, I'm very aware of the coffee, and I'm very keen for a coffee. So that's really the basis of my thoughts, and I know that there's loads of lifesavers here. At the very highest level, I'd like to test that reaction. Over to you.